So, good afternoon. This is session number 8. I realize that the day has been long, that we have been discussing a number of topics, and I've been trying to summarize in 3 sentences on the slide that you should see right now what perhaps the essence of the discussion has been. Not easy in 3 sentences, but I think clearly we are about improving and trying to improve our understanding of the dynamics of the planet, planetary dynamics. We heard just a second ago how from Simon how difficult it is and interesting it is. We're also about providing the scientific knowledge that is required to support the successful grand transformation of the Earth system and society in general. And we heard Johan Högström yesterday talking about this grand transformation. And then we need to go towards solution, develop solutions that involve new methods, infrastructure, governance, capacity building, information, communication, education, in order to support this sustainable development that we are trying to achieve. So it's a real ambition agenda, and if I can get the next slide, maybe I should take this here. Just say that basically the house we have to build is complex. It's based on the scientific foundation, but it includes a lot of turbulent and complex activity inside the house that involves the economy, society at large, the way we govern ourselves in order at the top to mitigate but also to adapt. And this house is not being built without external influences, international discussion, and so on. And so clearly supporting the grand transformation requires different approaches. One, perhaps the top-down approach that the physical community, the natural science community has been using, but also more and more this not only emerging but growing field of bottom-up approach. And finally, it's not only a matter of anticipating change while considering, of course, uncertainties. It's also to analyze how ecological and socioeconomic system will be affected by these changes so that we can optimize approaches to basically reduce vulnerability to society and to develop adaptation approaches. So basically, different professional communities are involved. And I think IIASA is probably some kind of the example of bringing together this different professional community, also to linking with policymaker and probably more and more tomorrow with the business community. And so the future is, of course, exciting. It is bright, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about how to overcome probably difficulties and barriers that we have. The science at the international level is defining itself, going into that direction. And so Steve Wilson, who represents here IIASA, the International Council for Science, will brief us about what's happening at the international level. But we will go a bit more focusing on what are the gaps that remain in the science. What is the progress that we have made? Where are the gaps, and what should we do to address them? Then we'll take an illustration regarding basically the forest of the future, and Francis Seymour from C4 will highlight what and how we could address a problem of that nature in a context of Earth system science and society. And finally, we'll go to what I think is, for many of you, a very, very important and concrete aspect about and what should IIASA do? What is the vision for IIASA? And so the director of IIASA, Pavel Kabat, who has this large enthusiasm that we know, also a good friend of mine, will try to tell you how he sees IIASA moving into that complex world. So I'm going to ask, but before I ask the first speaker, I'm going to ask you not to forget to pose your question. We would like this last debate here to be really interactive, to have a lot of you not only perhaps asking questions, but making a number of statements, especially the people who work at IIASA. I'm sure they have all ideas about how their institution should evolve and could contribute to the benefit of society. So please fill up the forms while the few speakers address this issue. We'll look at them and we'll try to use them for the discussion.